So we're at the mountain, but on the first part, May 9th, I flipped and I pressed the stop button, I guess, for recording. So here is the continuation. We left off, I guess, at my discussion on geopolitics, as I'm an independent geopolitical theoretical analyst and theorist. And here at the mountain, my second home, about to ascend, and rainy, but you know, I come here when it's stormy, when it's, you can check past videos, sometimes I'm solo, just coming me the flora, the fauna, the forest on the mountain, and the the creatures. And we got lots of flora, fauna. We got hawks, we got birds, we got of course rabbits, we got of course lots of squirrels, chipmunks, and other flora, fauna. Lots of flowers now because it's spring, so gotta come here and XYZ. So here we are at the mountain, my second home. Gonna ascend up, and that's where we're gonna go from Montreal, Hawk Island, encouraging all to work out, train, exercise. Part 2, May 9th edition. Second part, May 9th, for the North American Collective Workers Party, for my anonymous friend, for my fellow Aspies, for the butchers, the bakers, the nurses, the doctors, the firefighters, those flipping some hamburgers, cheeseburgers in a fast food. The Sabbath begins at midnight tonight, so it's lasts until Sunday sunset. And here's the headquarters going up. You can see the city of Montreal, and you can see it's a bit on the foggy side. And here we are from the side of the mountain, and that is my favorite skyscraper right there. You can see part of it, the pyramid. See the pyramid there. My favorite skyscraper in Montreal, HAWK, Hawk Island. Gonna ascend up all the way to the top. I'm gonna head back to my headquarters because I'm already a few hours in the march. Marching for world peace, pledge your allegiance to our family, for the Dragon Army, aka North American Integrated Security Service and Defense Force, to be parallel and complementary to the DGA, Dancing Goddess Army, the North American Integrated Dance League, you know, androgynous, pansexual, Aspie artist, athlete, Adrian Hanna Dragon. Keep my name out of your mouth if it's not for a blessing. Otherwise there'll be pestilence. Thanks for understanding, and rock and roll all the way to the top. Rock and roll for the farmers and those truckers and the butchers and the nurses and the firefighters. Shake your booty down the boots, let some fire and some water. You know, we gotta go to the skyscraper, high tower, satellites in the sky. Saddle up, you know, alright. It's rock and roll, geopolitics, sports, fitness, 24/7 for many years, and I am financially stressed, struggling, $10,000 in debt, but paid my rent, paid my electricity bill, got food, got coffee, and got some sweets. Excited for after midnight. Gonna indulge on some Sabbath of the Thelema, Sabbath of the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom, which is a non-sectarian Thelema order, and that's how we gotta get rock and rolling with that, and that's how we gotta get on the do with that, and that's how we gotta get consequential, and we got prudence with that, you know. So that's how we gotta get doing on that, and we gotta go on the up and on the down, and that's how we gotta get loving, you know. Somebody gotta love the butchers, the farmers, the daycare workers who change some diapers. Gotta mention them, think about them also today, Friday. For midnight, it's not all about Wall Street. Please give some charity, millionaires. Don't be so selfish, and let's start building the 44. In case of a thermonuclear war, you know, with India, Pakistan, conflict reignited, and that was exactly my prediction, eh? In 2019, I predicted what's happening now, a World War III international conflagration on the horizon. So I said due, of course, to the fact that many nation states, many civilizational complexes were not fully resolved. Their conflicts from the 21st century, that their conflicts are going to reignite and restart. Those that were not resolved, like here we made the great linguistic compromise with Quebec, the French language, and in the North American complex with all our brothers and sisters who come here, you know, we still got lots of work to do. Myself as an Aspie, being part of this tiny small fraction of a community, you know, less than 1%, less than half of a percentile, 0.44%, 0.44, you know, it's not a lot. 0.44% is not a lot of the population, but that's how we gotta get doing with that, and gotta get it on the go, and that's what we gotta get doing here, you know. As I go up the mountain, and you go up the mountain, and hear my fellow citizen there, see somebody came, congratulations, gotta applaud, gotta get that LOV, and gotta get it on the go, gotta get it on the now, you know. So that is something which we got, and we gotta get it on the transmission side, and we gotta get it on the go. See, Well, we are. Here we go, you know, on the side, and gotta go up, and it's 24/7 I come here, even when it's, of course, winter, in the cold, and this is my second home, and that's all we gotta get doing, you know. We gotta get on that transmission, and we gotta get here, you know, with the rocks, the clocks. Now, me to do Asperger's is my ritualized routine for many, many years. I come to the mountain, I do rock and roll and geopolitics, because I am neurodivergent, you know. So this umbrella, please, it should have been put to the garbage, eh? Because you got lots of flora, lots of fauna here, so I understand it broke, but nonetheless, this has to be put into garbage, you know. Whoop, slippery, because we got flora, we got fauna, and watch it when you come here, you know. Now it's slippery here, so you gotta be prudent on the side and go on the side and be prudent, because also the branches, now that it rained, or the branches fall here, so if you do venture here, just be mindful of the possibilities of which are happening and happen now, because you're no longer in the civilization, and you're no longer here. You're in the wilderness, you know, in the wild. And I guess we gotta have some reverence, you know, for the trees are 7 times my size. Look at all these branches. That's why you see hundreds of videos in the last week, 3 days ago, 3 weeks ago, every week, and see in the past years. And I warn people that here the branches fall, so you gotta be prudent, you gotta be careful, and it's slippery when it rains, so you gotta make sure you step right and do a little bit of that bend the knees, propel yourself from the knees up, because it's a bit on the muddy side, you know. So we're in the wilderness. We're in the forest, on the mountain. See the hard rocks. Look at that hard rock. Those hard rocks right there, you know. And I love coming here. I feel so good when I come here, and for years, and you know, ever since I got out of being depressed. I was depressed and I was suicidal. In 2017, I crossed Canada coast to coast, and that event made me come out of being depressed and suicidal, and that changed my whole life. My whole life changed. I established a strong esprit de corps with my fellow Canadians in 2017 when I crossed coast to coast, ocean to ocean. 2017, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, I crossed Canada, and that event made me establish a strong esprit de corps with my fellow Canadians, and ever since then I started my fitness journey, lost between 80 and 93 pounds, created my own workout training program system, which I discussed in the past and briefly in the first part. So briefly, I created a workout training program system made to be simple, effective, and efficient, of which myself have performed more than 372 sessions, of which is, of course, 100 push-ups, 100 hawks, 100 squats, and the rules are simple. One is allocated 93 minutes, 44 seconds, and it's actually 44 seconds and 9 over 11, the fraction of a second. So 93 minutes and almost 45 seconds. But the technical official number is 93 minutes, 44 seconds, and 9/11 of a second. So that's if you can do it, you're eligible for the Dragon Army, and advocate and have been advocating blah blah for all universities, high schools, and security forces to armed forces, Canadian Armed Forces, United States. And I served in the United States when I was born in the USA in past lives, previous incarnations, and now I'm a mystic parallel to being an Aspie, androgynous pansexual philosopher, geopolitical theoretical honest and theorist, and I believe in reincarnations. I was born in the USA twice, post 7076. As a man, and once I was a woman, so 3 times. And I was born as a man, 156 years apart, served in 2 different wars, same United States Army, and now we gotta get that Dragon Army 21st century, April 9th today for that SSD, only for SSD, only solely for SSD, security, service, and defense. And we're gonna get a little bit of that cadence as we started the cadence sessions. You know how it goes. Rainbow Dragon, aka General Cuckold, no need to spy on me. Secret services of Russia, China, as I discussed in part 1, that we're on the verge of World War III now with India and Pakistan. They both have more than 156 nukes, and they can be potentially nuclear armed. Look at those beautiful flower clusters there. See, you got spring flowers, so that's also a beauty. But you're not supposed to go that deep, but just be careful, admire them, because we got to plant. We plant here, we plant some trees. That's why it's fenced in. But this side is not really fenced. I guess you can venture a bit, but just be mindful not to overstep. You know, not to like abuse or take or whatever the case may be. Some flowers with that. So back to what I was saying, the dynamics of which the interplay of my protocols and my scenario of 2019 are playing in a parallel way to what I had predicted and concluded back in 2019. In a general manner, overall, summum bonum manner, not in a very detailed manner, but overall, that's what I had predicted. And this is French here, because we're in the French liable province, and here in the North American Collective, we made the great linguistic compromise of the North American Collective, and of course, I got to put myself a little bit for that French. So basically, it's discussing the protection of the flora and the fauna, and discussing a little bit of the mountain here, but you know, that's French here. It's a great linguistic compromise we made, to have the continuity of peace, harmony in the 21st century with Quebec. 9 million Quebecers, myself included, speak that French, rock and roll French, English, French like Celine Dion, 24/7, geopolitics, sports, fitness. Dancing is my favorite sport, and rock and roll. Laying the foundations for the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom with 718 trillions of kisses. 718 trillions of kisses, 718 trillions of kisses. Created from the forgotten goddess Jodi says it, as I will to build the 4, including the forgotten goddess temple. Offer on the table put some feet washing, massages to the construction workers for the forgotten goddess temple to be built for the North American people's imperial Coliseum to be built on the Canadian-US border, aka the North American People's Imperial Coliseum, to have sports in perpetuity, sport is in perpetuity, and to be 11 times bigger than the Caesar Superdome, aka Caesar Superdome. Of course, Caesar Superdome and the one before was known as the Mercedes Super Bowl. They changed names as I changed names, of course. It changed transformation. Died in 2020, February, March, when I had COVID, coronavirus. It was like death, pestilence, and disease. Like death, pestilence, and disease. Like death, pestilence, and disease. I know it sounds like a death, pestilence, and disease. My name is please for the hardcore metal, like a metal, trash metal, rock and roll sounds. You know, that's what they gotta be. But of course, it sounds like a trash, hardcore metal rock song, but I know that's what it sounds like, but that's really what I felt, you know. It was like death, pestilence, and disease, and that's how we gotta get doing with that, and that's how we gotta get on the Appalachians. So it's something which we gotta be focused on, you know. Gotta be on the mindfulness of things, you know. So basically, of course, the North American People's Imperial Coliseum is to be 11 times bigger than the Hardball Ball, where the Hardball Ball, aka Blackout Ball, was played. The Hardball Ball, aka the Blackout Ball, the Hardball Ball, aka the Blackout Ball, you know, the Hardball Ball. When my 49ers lost, it's one of my top 5 Super Bowls. My 49ers lost, not by much, by 3 points. So let's build it on the Canadian-US border. And me and Donald Trump is going to be inauguration. Dragon versus Trump. Me and Donald Trump are going to inaugurate. We're going to do that, Dragon versus Trump, because I've been in having him. I need to challenge Donald Trump to a boxing match on the Canadian-US border. Let's build on the Canadian-US border the biggest, majestic arena, for sports 24/7. NFL, NHL, NBA, MLB, UFC, sports, 24/7 fitness, sports, working out, my workout training for the Dragon Army Dragons. Nobody's born a dragon, you become one, pledge your legions. Financially stressed, rent's paid, electricity bills paid, got trillions of kisses, lots of rock and roll hugs, and friends with benefits only. Thanks for understanding. I don't want to waste nobody's time. Friends with benefits only. Black, white, you want to make LOV with Rainbow Dragon, and man, woman, you know. BDSM switch. Stay overseas. Secret services of China don't cross the Pacific. Secret services of Russia don't cross the Atlantic to spy on Little Clit Dick, aka General Cuckold, Rainbow Dragon. You don't march 40 more than 4 hours non-stop in steel toes. Maybe some do, some don't. Maybe some do. Sing that rock and roll. March more than the generals of NATO during 2020, during COVID, and which I had, and I got triple vaxxed. Auctioning the old boots for $1 billion to give half 50% to my anonymous friend, and start buying some bricks to build the Forgotten Goddess Temple and to build a North American Imperial People's Coliseum on the Canadian-US border. On the Canadian-US border to build the North American People's Imperial Coliseum on the Canadian-US border. That's what we gotta do, and that's what we gotta get building, you know. Here it is for the protocols, and here it is for the LOVE, you know. We gotta get that X and we gotta get that Y, and that's how we gotta get on that foundation, you know, because it's something which we must, you know. We must be attentive, and we must doing on the protocols, and please. Well, that one, okay, that one I know that one's compostable. So that one's actually, I'm gonna double check, but that one's compostable. I think so. Yeah, this is compostable. So this is compostable. This is compostable. That you can of course, that's compostable, so that you can do, you know, that you can leave there, because it's compostable. I know, because they sell compostable there, because I bought once when I could afford it. Now financially stressed, but I got food at home. I got kwas, bought it on special rare occasions, so I'm gonna hydrating for the Sabbath, which begins at midnight, starts at midnight after midnight, which is basically 1 second to Saturday and until Sunday sunset. So that's almost 45 hours, 44 hours and 50 minutes, almost 45. The Sabbath of the Dancing Goddess in the Dragon Kingdom, which is fundamentally a call for a public-private partnership fusing Canada and United States, implementing my DRT, debt fusion theory, for the creation of the UE, which is the only solution. Is now I'm discussing a bit of geopolitics. My prediction has occurred. Is in 2019 I predicted what's happening now, and you know, challenging Donald Trump lives on the Canadian-US border since 2018. That's really when I got into politics, when Trump made the mistake to impose tariffs on Canadian aluminum and steel, 10% in 2018 and 25 in this round, 2025. So you know, Trump sportsmanship like on the Canadian-US border, you know, we're gonna get boxing, and we're gonna build on the Canadian-US border the North American People's Imperial Coliseum to be 11 times bigger than the Caesar Superdome, aka Caesar Superdome, Caesar's Superdome, Caesar Superdome, aka Caesar Superdome, aka the Mercedes-Benz Dome now. It used to be known as the Mercedes-Benz, now it's known as the Caesar Superdome, and that's where my 49ers lost by 3 points. 3 points. Lost by 3 points, and that's where they lost, you know, by 3 points to the Baltimore Ravens. My 49ers, that is. My 49ers lost by 3 points to the 49ers, one of my favorite Super Bowls. That's just what it is, and that's how we're gonna get going with that, and we're gonna get for that training, and that's all we gotta get doing with that, and we're gonna get on that meditation. So here we are, you know, here somebody made it at the North American People's Imperial Coliseum, and build the Forgotten Goddess Temple. That's what we gotta be building, and so we gotta get on that fitness and mass finance fitness. Super important, you know, to mass finance fitness. Super important. Mass finance tourism is super important to implement my DRT, and now we see that Pakistan and India is on the verge of another war, as the Kashmir again. That's what my prediction was based on, due to the fact that many nation states, civilizations, and regions, of course, did not fully resolved their conflicts in the 20th century. You know, in the 20th century were not fully resolved in the 20th century. Their conflicts. Their conflicts were not resolved, you know. Here, like, we resolve many of our conflicts. We had the great North American civilizational complex, and made a great linguistic compromise. But many Kashmiris dates from the 20th century. Israel, Palestine, Israel, Hamas dates from the 20th century. And Russia, Ukraine. As much as I pronounce myself, I'm a North American philosopher and a Quebec, Canadian, North American centric, geopolitical theoretical clandestine theorist. So, of course, my experiences here as much as I can take, and for many, many years I take a neutral position until we establish the Dragon Army for SSD Security Service and Defense, aka the North American Imperial People's Security Service and Defense, the 63 for the 63 legions for the 63. That's how we gotta get doing with that, and so we gotta get doing and building more skyscrapers and build more hydroelectric dams, and we need to mass rebuild the North American Imperial Coliseum. We get to get the rebuilding of coast to coast Canada, United States, to do a great census. We need to do a great census, and of course we need to create a common passport. We need to check those 4G, 5G, because we got mass espionage and mass potential sabotage. We got mass espionage, a mass potential sabotage. We got mass espionage and mass potential sabotage. So we got to get total security for total service and liberty in liberty. For total security and total service, we got to get total in liberty. That's what the Dragon Army principles, the SSD, security service and defense. So we're gonna have to build with Microsoft, Bill Gates, brother, let's go, rock and roll, PPP, public private partners, support the dream, the dancing goddess and the dragon kingdom. So for total security and total service in liberty, we got to get the Dragon Army, aka North American Imperial League, and for the 10 provinces, 50 states and 3 territories, that's 63. You need to create the 63 legions. And back to what I was saying, I predicted what's happening now back in 2019, and consequently now China, Russia and China have met again, and that's what it is with that. So Russia and China have consequently met again and solidified their, of course, XYZ, their mutual beneficial alliance for them. From their perspective, they have a military financial alliance, which of course in the past 45 months they solidified, and they done their protocols and they implemented their protocols, and that's what they done with that. And they're of course furthermore the solidification of their complex, their geopolitical regional complex. That's what it is with that, and that's how we gotta get doing with that. Of course, gotta get it on the go, and so we gotta get doing on the love side of things, and we gotta get it on love, so you gotta get it for the love side of things, so something which we gotta do, and you gotta get it on the XYZ, and gotta get it on the XYZ. That's what we gotta do. So gotta doing on the consequence, and here we are. So now I'm gonna discuss the DRT, debt refusion theory, because I'm on the subject and I gotta get it on the subject, and it's super important, and I discuss it. The debt refusion theory for the creation of the universal exchange is the only solution, at least the only solution for where we are now with the public financial system of today. Why do I make that statement? Is because last year we paid 46.5 billion in interest. A billion consequently is 1,000 million. 1,000 million. So that has 9 zeros. 46.5 million. 46.5 billion, that is. A million has 6 zeros. A billion doesn't have 7 or 8 zeros. A billion has 9 zeros. So it's 46.5 billion, that's 46,000 million, which we paid on the Canadian public debt in interest. You realize that the number is most monstrous. It's like a big financial monster. On the full moon Monday on the 12th of May, it could be a public financial collapse. Starting Monday, inauguration of Carney, when the 13th of May, it's now a possibility. In 2020, 2021, the number was 20.3 billion. Do you see? 20.3 double is 40.6. What do you notice? You notice that the number more than doubled. The mathematical financial principle behind it, since our GDP didn't double, our economy didn't double, is that we're gonna have to reduce the budget. We're gonna have to reduce the spending. Really? You get it? We have to reduce the spending. There's no way out of this. We have to cut and reduce the spending. just like an individual citizen, he, she, they, citizen whose interest double, let's say from 156 double is 312. Let's say it jumps in 3 years from 156 to 333. Personally, I don't have credit cards myself. I have a credit line, so I don't pay on credit cards, but I do pay interest. But let's say for me, for somebody else, it doubles. While the salary doesn't double, while the income doesn't double, then one has to cut and reduce the spending. The individual, if he smokes, might have to cut the smokes. Individual, if you do whatever the doing it is, has to cut the budget. Has to cut the budget, the spending. It cannot be sustained. You get it? It cannot be sustained. So you see here, we can put this here, because that's where it goes, you know. Oh no, that has to be recycled. See, that's why we need the DGA. See this? Those bottles there. Oh, I saw. They gotta be recycled. It pains my heart. But I don't have gloves to do it, to take them, because I don't know the hygiene and microbes, bacteria. I would need to come with gloves. That's why we need the Dancing Goddess Army. Priestess Hannah gonna slap you. Please recycle. See? There's cans there. Those are for garbage. And we have recycling, eh? They are for recycling. We have to do our individual part. As much as we can philosophize, we have to do it as an individual in the collective. It gotta go together, just like my debt refusion theory. It takes a public-private partnership. My dream is fundamentally North American-centric for the fusion thereof. Canada, United States, via public-private partnership to create the two complementary covenant and cooperative institutions of the 21st century. The Dancing Goddess Army, the North American Integrated Dance League, with the Dragon Army. Fundamentally, in essence, that's what it is. That's what it is in essence. Fundamentalis. And I'm a pro-labor and love universal revolutionary centrist. My centrism is tied hand in hand with my Trinity theories, the CIT, Citizen Integration Theory, the DRT, Debt Refusion Theory, and the DFT, the Democratic Fusion Theory, to be implemented via the fourth dimension, love, 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 LOVE. Because if somebody not making love tonight, let the nukes pop off. Thermonuclear war, we gotta build those 44. We're on the verge of thermonuclear war, we gotta build those 44 tunnels. We're on the verge of a thermonuclear war, eh? Possibly May 18th. We gotta build those 44. May 18th, a day before, a day after. It's possible for a nuclear war. Supposedly Beyonce's music video, one of my favorite, which I think I danced the most on that music video, is called Run the World, Run the World, Run the World. Run the world. Supposedly there it was predicted. It predicted what's happening now. It predicted a World War III and even a nuclear war. It showed there. Or it could be, some say it was the explosion by China. It looked like a nuclear one, but it was a massive, big, non-nuclear explosion 2 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago is going to be Saturday. Exactly 2 weeks ago when they did so. And now Xi Jinping is in Russia. They're solidifying. You see, they've been going to see each other so many times. It's unlikely for leaders. Usually that happens before a big world war. Usually that happens between a big war. So I predicted what's happening now in 2019. But back to the DRT, debt refusion tea. To the debt refusion tea, to create the debt refusion tea for the creation of the UE. Let's go through here. So the DRT, we got to get it on the DRT. We got to get it on the XYZ. And that's all we got to get doing on the go, you know. So that's all we got to get doing, you know. The DRT, debt refusion theory for the creation of the UE. So basically, of course, the amount that we paid was 46.5 billion. 46.5 billion. That's 1,000 million. That's 1,000 million. 1,000 million. That's 1,000 million, you know. 1,000 million. Has 9 zeros, 9 zeros, 9 zeros. That is 46.5 billion. A billion has 9 zeros. 46.5. That amount we paid on interest, it doubled, more than doubled. From 2021, the number was 20.3. So as an individual, if individual citizen XYZ or he, she, they, if the interest paid goes from 156 to 333, then one has to cut and reduce. Either smoking, smoke cigarettes, going out, cutting Netflix, reducing your cell phone, getting another plan for the internet, for the center. You have to cut the budget. You cannot maintain the same expenses unless you get bankruptcy. So what are we gonna cut, Uncle Connie? What are we gonna cut? What are we gonna cut, Uncle Connie? The sanitation, the healthcare, national defense, RCMP, police, RCMP, the Mounties, the Royal Canadian Military Police, which I served in a past life, where before they were known as Mounties. Many past lives been incarnation. Today, 9th of May, on the verge of World War III, and a public financial collapse. So what's happened? What's happening? What are we gonna cut? The prisons, sanitation, those who pick up the garbage, the compost. We're gonna have to cut and reduce some spending. We're gonna have to cut and reduce some spending. That's what we're gonna have to do. To cut and reduce some spending. That's what we're gonna have to do. To cut and reduce some spending. That's how we're gonna have to do it. Cut and reduce some spending. There's no way. There's no way out of this. There's no way out of this. There's no way. But step by step, we have to implement the DRT, and it takes a public-private partnership. Let's go, Scorpio brother Bill Gates. So I'm going to explain it as succinctly, as simple as I can. Because due to my neurological mental divergent condition, which is not a mental illness, it is just a brain mutation. Our brain is different than Aspies. We're a tiny fraction of the population. Our brain are made different, so we see the world differently, and we have our strengths, but we also have our weaknesses. And I lost many friends, and many friends will benefit only from now on. Pledge your allegiance, and friends will benefit from now on. Friends will benefit from now on. Friends will benefit from now on, and that's what we gotta get doing with that. Friends with benefits, and that's how we gotta get doing, Friends with benefits, and that's how we gotta get on that love side, and that's how we gotta get on the micro and the macro level to work together, right? In a DRT, debt refusion theory. Debt refusion theory. In a DRT. In the DRT, the debt refusion theory is, of course, what's needed to be done. So we're gonna have to take all the public and the private debt, all the public and the private debt. Again, we're on a point of a virtual collapse. We're on a point of a virtual collapse, public financial collapse. You realize it's an emergency situation scenario, eh? There's just no way out of this situation but my DRT theory, or something which resembles my debt refusion theory, which includes, in my debt refusion theory is included integrated monetary integration theory, which is the financial theory, which was implemented in the European Union, the Europeans. They implemented it in the 1990s, more than 25 years ago. The Germans destroyed their central bank, the Italians, the French, many countries in Europe. They created the ECB, the European Central Bank, and they created the euro. So my theory, the DRT integrates that theory. So we're going to take all the public and the private debt. Again, there's no other way. We're going to have to, we're on the verge of a financial collapse of Canada, public financial collapse, because the GDP didn't double, just like an individual whose economic input didn't double, then income didn't increase. Citizen has to cut, reduce the spending, so it's the same principle applies. It's a paradox that I put on the table, the DRT, with all my trauma, suffering, and sufferings and trauma, and was depressed, suicidal. Is a high in Aspies. We have a high, unfortunately, way too high unemployment rate, because there's a lot of misunderstanding. Still, there's been a lot of progress done in the past 7, 8, 10 years, but still a lot of work to be done. But nonetheless, there's also high in suicidal ideation and suicidal tendencies and depression, because Aspies are not that many in the world, and we're different, and we certainly have our weaknesses and certain things. I am myself so-so, mediocre, average. While being so-so, average, mediocre, some certain things, and other things I am great and super and excellent, and that's all we gotta get doing with that, and that's all we gotta get doing with the XYZ. So it's something which we gotta do, and something which we gotta be mindful of to get that, and that's all we gotta get doing on that, So it's something which we also gotta be meditating upon, and we gotta get that love, for the butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, and the grocery store clerks, and all those involved in the production, distribution of food, and that's how we gotta get doing with that, So something which we gotta be meditating upon. So once again, the DRT, debt refusion theory, We got to be implementing it. I'm gonna explain it now. So we're gonna take all the public-private debt, including my 10,000, coast to coast, ocean to ocean. We're gonna convert it into US dollars, We're gonna add it with the US because the financial, both public and private financial situation, including record credit card debt, is both the realities, is both the financial reality for Canada and the United States simultaneously. So we're going to implement it binationally, Canada, United States. So we're going to take all the public-private debt, Canadian public-private debt. We're going to add it with we're going to convert it into US dollars. We're going to add it with the US dollars. That money is going to be the initial money supply plus the money in circulation of a new central bank. We're going to create a new currency called the UE. U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. The UE, the UE, the UE. The U dot universal, E dot exchange, U dot unit. The universal exchange unit takes a public-private partnership. With that money, we're going to rebuild the aqueducts, the infrastructure of the North American Collective. We're going to mass finance citizens for fitness, sports and fitness. We're going to build the North American People's Imperial Coliseum on the Canadian-US border. We're going to build a forgotten goddess temple. We're going to, the house, pyramid, scarlet crimson of the pyramid house of the dragon. And that's why we're going to build, of course, another temple. And we're going to build, of course, the Rainbow People's Palace for my fellow neurodivergents, my fellow LGBTQ community, being part androgynous pansexual aspie. And we're going to mass finance the building construction of those 44 tunnels in case of a thermonuclear war inspired by the Cheyenne Mountain complex. Stack them with cans of food, durable goods which can be stacked and which have a long duration of a shelf life. Long shelf life duration for a few years. That's all we gotta do. It's a must. We're on the verge of a public financial collapse. That's what it is, and that's all we have to do, to get on the implementation of that, and that's all we gotta be doing, for the XYZ, and that's all we gotta get doing. That's all we gotta get doing with that, and that's what it is with that, and that's how we gotta be on the appellation here. So there's no way out of this. You can argue all you want, but there's no way out of this. It's something which we gotta be doing, and yeah, that's what it is. And I love seeing people working out, training, exercising, and always gives me a little bit of that hope, a little bit of that joy. Hopefully somebody making that good LOV want to come love with me. Black, white, man, woman, you gotta be 18 plus. I'm gonna card you like the liquor store, cannabis store, like the cannabis or the alcohol here, legal. Canada, coast to coast, all cannabis is legal in Quebec and across Canada. We have stores, legal stores where you buy. We have the best in Montreal, Quebec, Montreal Island, Hawk Island, Montreal. We have the best weed cannabis, no doubt. Although I don't smoke lots. Maybe today is the day. Maybe tomorrow. I haven't smoked in a long time. Anyways, so that's the rock and roll part of the DRT. I'm going to explain it again. So we're going to take all the public-private debt, my debt, your debt, our debt, all the public-private debt. That money is going to be the initial money supply for a new central bank. And we're going to create the UE, Canada, United States joint. We're going to create a new passport, Canada Kingdom, Dancing Goddess Dragon Kingdom, for the 50 states plus 10 provinces plus 3 territories. We're going to create the North American Imperial SSD Legion for security and service and defense, SSD, the Dragon Army Legion, SSD, the Dragon Army Legion, the SSD, the Dragon Army Legion, SSD, security, service and defense, SSD, security, service and defense, and the Forgotten Goddess Temple with the DGA, Dancing Goddess Army, for dancing. And you saw what, I'm gonna check this one as well. Gonna have a fit, because this is garbage. You gotta put it in the recycling. Yes, I knew it. I shouldn't have checked. See all that can goes in recycling, not in the garbage. That's compostable. and the other one is of course recycling, and the other one's recycling, and the other one's recycling, and that one's recycled, and you put it in the garbage. But I don't have gloves. We got work to do, man. If we don't do it as individuals also, it takes the individual action and the collective. That's the thing. A private-public partnership, I checked, proof. That's why we need the Dancing Goddess Army for education and for to come here in the mountain and wear with a bag, and I'll do it. I'll take the gloves. I'll do it. It's I've been doing it in the inside because I do it a lots of inside there, But in the garbage, I'm a bit because I need gloves, and which I don't have, and financially, to buy some more gloves and special gloves, and to that it takes financing. That's what money is. That's what we're gonna do for the UE. The DRT, debt refusion theory, is the only solution we're gonna have to do. We finance the two complementary covenant and cooperative institutions, the Dancing Goddess Army, the DGA, with the Dragon Army. That's what we're gonna have to be doing. That's what we're gonna have to be doing. So that's what we're gonna have to be doing with that. So the DRT, debt refusion theory, we're gonna have to be doing with that. So the debt refusion theory, we're gonna take all the public and the private debt, my 10,000, your 10,000, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, converted to US dollar, added with the US. That money is gonna be the initial money supply for a new central bank, whatever we call it. We're gonna issue the new currency called the UE, U.Universal, U.Exchange, U.Unit, the UE, Universal Exchange Unit. We're gonna cap the interest rate of 10%, so it's not gonna be able to be more than 10% after that. It's gonna be 10%, and that's what it's gonna be with that. 10%, 10%, it's going to be lower than 10%. It could be 3.33, 7.18, 6.1, 9.3, whatever, 4.18, 7.18, 9.3, 6.61, whatever the case may be, 6.1, 9.3, below 10%. That's just how we're going to do it. There's no other way out of that. But the DRT, the debt refusion theory for the creation of the UE, there's no way out of the situation where we are now. It's just where we are. You can argue all you want, but obviously arguing will not help, because it's the only solution. That's just the way it is. That's just the way it is. We cannot maintain. It's sustainable is not non-sustainable. We are on the verge of a public financial collapse of Canada. You realize it. It has to be realized and perfectly understood. We are on the verge of a public financial collapse. We are on the verge of a public financial collapse. We're on the verge of a public financial collapse, And making me think of Vian. I watch sometimes not just Canadian, Radio Canada, or CBC, CTV, and local Quebec French, but also, of course, CNN, Fox, and I watch a little bit left, right, and center, because I'm an independent geopolitical theoretical honest and tears. And overseas, Vian, World is One news I watch often to make, especially now with the India-Pakistan, because it's Indian-based. Vian, it's called the World is One, WION. It's a mostly news channel, or mostly news related. Some documentaries also. World is One. So I watched, and of course, I do analysis on a daily basis, geopolitical analysis. So World is One, of course, I watch because mostly the India-Pakistan channel. But last year, a year ago, there was a report, and it was several report from Canada. Of course, that they had, what is that? They had, of course, some loving. That love is good. I like that. I can't see. I gotta check my eyes again. Oh, I wonder what that was. Somebody put that there. It is good. Do some loving for me too. Black, white, men and women who want to come love with me. Black or white, rainbow, man and woman, You gotta be 18, gonna card you. So that's what we're gonna do. But basically, in Vian showed, there was a report, of course, where they stated, of course, that the situation, Canadian situation, we're on the verge of it says, the title was Broke and Angry Canadians are preparing for unrest, or something, preparing for unrest, or riots, something like that. Riots, unrest. It was an RCMP. Last year was sent to the government, Trudeau's government at the time. The king is absent. It's time for the Republic. The debt refusion theory. We're going to have to, because what are we going to cut? We're going to cut the police, the RCMP. We're going to have truckers, butchers, we're going to have to, Mr. Connie. The king is absent. There's an absentee landlord. The king is an absentee landlord. The king is an absentee landlord. And we're going to implement Operation Northern Scorpio based on my total mobile defense theory. Total mobile defense theory, when it becomes a system, we put it into action. I cannot discuss it over much because it's national security matters. So I cannot be overly verbose about the total mobile defense theory. It's conceived and made in the past 7+ years, developed furthermore in 2019 and during COVID. And of course, based on the geopolitical reality of a World War III, possible nuclear war and international escalation. For the North American Collective, Canada, United States, we're going to get rid of the border. We're going to create a common passport. We're going to build those 44 tunnels. And we're going to mass finance citizens' fitness, mass finance tourism, rebuild the infrastructure with my debt refusion to when we implement, after we implement my DRT. We're going to rebuild more hydroelectric dams. And we're going to do lots of good for the individual, for the collective, and pledge your allegiance, legions. That's about the rock and roll with that. And now we're going to switch it a little bit to that French because we're going to get on that cadence and going to get for the butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, grocery store clerks, the farmers, firefighters, pledge your allegiance, legions. And that's what we're going to get doing, And that's always something which gives me a little bit of hope, That's some good. Give me some hope, somebody making some love. And that's worth fighting for and defending and creating the dragon army so that people can do a little bit of that loving like that, So that's always some good stuff there, People holding hands, hugging, working out. That's nice. That gives me some smile and some knowledge, and that's what we're gonna get doing with that, and that's what we're gonna get doing for some love. And here we are. A couple or newly couple or old couple reacquainted, I don't know. I'm fantasizing, but my auntie, uncle, I'm gonna say, I couldn't really see man, woman, really, to be honest, but they were just, I could detect that they were holding hands. I really have to check my eyes again, but back to the DRT, that refugee is the solution, and we gotta love it, man. Love is good. Now I'm happy, even double happy. I was always joyous, content, but financially stressed. And in a parallel life, I know everything about supercomputers, ICBM rockets, and microchips, and 3Gs, 4Gs, 5Gs, and whatever the case may be, 4G, 5Gs. And I'm a super scientist in a parallel life. ASPE also have Asperger's, but they're my special interest. Are not geopolitics, sports, and fitness, and rock and roll. There's science, mathematics, and physics. So I build microchips, supercomputers, and satellites, and coding. So I know radio waves, physics, and mathematics, and computers, and computer science. I'm like a hybrid of Bill Gates, and I have Asperger's as well in that parallel life, parallel universe, if you will. And in this life here on the 9th of May, we got to put that work for the French language, because we are an independent geopolitical honest and tourist, and Quebecer, Canadian, North American, who was born in the USA 3 times, twice served in the same United States Armed Forces, the DRT, that refusion. We're going to create the UE, get rid of the border, fuse Canada, United States, strong public-private partnership, create the 63 legions integrated from existing institutions to be only and solely for SSD, security, service, and defense. Only and solely for SSD, security, service, and defense. Security, service, and defense. For security, service, and defense. And of course, for the North American Collective, the 50 states, 10 provinces, and 3 territories, to get that mass defense, security, SSD, service, security, and defense, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, service, security, and defense, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, service, security, and defense, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, and build the North American Imperial People's Coliseum on the Canadian-US border. Build the Forgotten Goddess Temple. Me and Donald Trump, we're going to inaugurate the biggest sports arena venue in the history of the world. It's going to be 11 times bigger than the Caesar Superdome, where the Hardball Ball, a.k.a. Blackout Ball, a.k.a. Bro Ball, like my memory lost, I got raw. If you remember, I remember mostly clearly the past 7 years, then 8, 9, 10, 11, kind of goes blackout, raw, retrograde amnesia, I used to live in a moldy place. I moved, scars, and I was attacked by surprise, hit my head. Had a dislocated right arm, went to the Jewish General Hospital, was replaced and put on some meds, and had like a coma period. For a few days I was like in a coma, and then of course had my own City Empire episode, and I moved, and in 2017 I crossed Canada. That event changed my whole life. Started working out, training, exercising. 2017 August, went in British Columbia, Vancouver. 2017 in Halifax, Nova Scotia, and that event really changed my life. turn my whole life around. I established a strong esprit de corps with my fellow Canadians, our family, Quebecers, Canadians, and North Americans, and all who come to join us here. We're a new civilizational collective. We're new because we're formed from different peoples of all the world nations. So we are a new civilizational complex. And we're going to be the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom, the 63, the new United States, the new United States, the Dancing Goddess and the Dragon Kingdom. We're going to fuse the North, Canada, true North, strong and free, with the South, home of the brave, land of the free, home of the brave. It's not too much to ask to hug HUG like you never hugged before today. From the land of the free and the home of the brave, I hope it's not too much to ask to hug like you never hugged before. If it's too much, well, I don't know how free you are and how brave you are, because I was born in the United States twice as a man, once as a woman, 3 times for 76, and I served in the United States Army 156 years apart, and now we got to get that SSD. Already marched more than the generals of Canada, United States combined from this week, finalizing another 6 hours and more than 6 hours each Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. So more than the generals of NATO probably combined. Pledge your allegiance to our family. Time for that French, blah, blah, blah. Make some good loving. Butchers, bakers, nurses, doctors, firefighters, those who change the daycare diapers in the daycares, gotta sing some rock and roll for them, and the truckers on the road, the firefighters, let's finance them some good massage therapy session. I'm gonna take a bath and supplement for a good massage therapy session. And for the truckers, the bakers, the butchers, the nurses, the doctors, and the plumbers, the electricians, all those involved in the production, distribution of food, we gotta get that rock and roll, and we gotta get on that going, you know. It's something which we gotta do, something which we must do, something which we gotta be some love in here in my second home. Those are plantations and are new, so we gotta be careful. See, thank you to those who made the plantation, because those are all with the ribbons. Those are new plantations, so we gotta plant some more. And gonna switch it to that French now, because oui, la belle province québécoise, je suis déjà sur la montagne. Je commence avec une chanson pour vous, pour votre plaisir. Ma famille québécoise, on est sur la montagne, on chante, les jambes dans les airs, on est vendredi, c'est vendredi. La brume, on voit pas bien, c'est pas clair. Coup de tonnerre dans le ciel, je vois ma tante qui se tient la main avec l'oncle. Il vient de se chicaner, il vient de sa montagne pour s'aimer. Il vient de chicaner sa montagne pour se réaimer. Il vient de chicaner sa montagne pour se réaimer, amour. Parlez-moi de l'arc-en-ciel, hommes et femmes. Venez me faire l'amour, homme-femme. Si vous êtes noir, blanc, homme-femme. Je suis androgyn pansexuel depuis bien des années. Je suis sorti, moi, ça fait des années que je suis ouvert de ça, bien plus que 7 ans. Puis, vous savez, j'ai l'Asperger's, fait que je suis neurodivergent. J'ai une mutation. Ben, le cerveau des Asperger, il y a une mutation, donc nous on voit les choses différemment. Puis moi-même, on est super bon dans les intérêts spéciaux, c'est connu comme les intérêts obsessifs. Donc moi-même, quand je fais de l'entraînement physique, la danse, la marche, je suis super dedans, super concentré, super intense. Et bien sûr, je suis un analyste et théoricien en géopolitique, pas seulement un artiste athlète, mais un analyste et théoricien en géopolitique. J'ai prévu la situation actuelle qui se déroule en ce moment, bien sûr, et j'ai prévu la situation qui se déroule en ce moment. En 2019, j'ai prévu la situation qui se déroule en ce moment, en octobre-novembre 2019. Fait que moi-même, j'ai prévu ça. En octobre-novembre 2019, j'ai prévu la situation qui se déroule en ce moment. En octobre-novembre 2019, tu sais. Ben, j'ai la preuve parce que j'ai la vidéo. Parce que moi, je fais ça 24 sur 24. Hein. L'analyse, la théorie, la révision de l'analyse, la théorie en géopolitique. C'est constamment, ça se passe avec moi. Les aspis, nous, on a comme des routines rituelles un peu, des rituels routines. Là. Même, ça peut prendre bien du temps dans notre quotidien. Des fois, c'est malheureux parce que ça peut encombrer puis avoir de la difficulté dans d'autres, tu sais, la communication non verbale, le social, tu sais, puis on a de la misère, les aspis, à maintenir des amis parce qu'il y a bien encore des gens, des citoyens qui pensent que c'est une maladie mentale ou c'est une maladie comme l'autre fois, lundi, je pense, j'ai sur la caméra, sur la vidéo, quand je fais mes marches d'entraînement rock'n'roll comme celle-là, ben, le citoyen m'a dit, ben, c'est une maladie. Je dis, non, c'est pas une maladie, là, c'est une condition de neurodivergence. C'est notre cerveau, le cerveau des Asperger's, il y a une mutation. Fait que cette mutation-là, ça fait que on a certaines caractéristiques qui peuvent sembler bizarres, étranges, comme, mettons, tu sais, l'espace personnel de 2-3 pieds, là, un aspi comme moi-même, je vais m'approcher à 2-3 pouces, tellement proche de la personne que la personne elle va avoir un peu peur ou va avoir, tu sais, est émue ou de l'intimidation ou des choses, de l'angoisse, tu sais. Ça peut causer des choses comme ça, ou répéter des phrases 2-3 fois la même chose, on va dire 2-3 fois la même chose, ou on va... L'écholélia aussi, c'est une caractéristique, parce que c'est pas des symptômes, là. Les symptômes, c'est pour une maladie, c'est des caractéristiques des aspis que je dois vivre avec, puis je dois toujours faire de la gestion quand je communique, puis quand je m'engage aux affaires, ou que ça soit du bénévolat, avec les neurotypiques. Parce que les neurotypiques, bien, vous êtes 99,56%. Moi, je fais partie d'une minorité de moins d'1%. Il n'y a pas beaucoup d'Asperger's dans le monde, c'est 0,5%. C'est 0,44%. 0,44%, c'est 0,44%. Fait que vous imaginez, imaginez-vous, imaginez-vous donc, tu sais, 0,44%, il n'y en a pas beaucoup, là, des Asperger's. Puis, il y a encore beaucoup d'éducation qui se fait, mais c'est sûr qu'il y a eu bien du progrès durant ces derniers 5 ans, 7, 10 ans, au 21e siècle. Je vais dire au 21e siècle, là, parce que ça a commencé au 20e siècle avec Hans Asperger. Asperger, c'est le nom de la personne, du docteur. Il y a une mutation dans le cerveau. Fait que cette mutation, ça fait que on a de la misère dans certaines choses qui peuvent être faciles pour d'autres. Moi-même, je suis médiocre, comme ci, comme ça, pas bon dans certaines choses. Des fois, c'est des choses qui sont comme... Mais c'est tellement... Ça a l'air tellement simple, là. Mais c'est... Puis pour les aspis, ça peut être difficile. C'est un paradoxe quand même, parce qu'on peut être très bon dans les choses intellectuelles, dans les mathématiques. Moi, c'est la géopolitique. C'est mon intérêt spécial, ben ça varie, hein, parce que c'est pas tous les Aspergers qui ont le même intérêt spécial, aussi connu comme intérêt obsessif, mais dire obsessif, ça rend pas justice à qu'est-ce que c'est. Parce que les Aspergers, il faut qu'ils soient encouragés dans ces choses-là. Il faut qu'ils soient encouragés dans ces choses-là, tu sais. Il faut qu'ils soient encouragés dans ces choses-là, puis s'ils ont besoin de soutien puis d'encouragement, si moi-même j'en ai pas, tu sais, pour les autres aspis, qui l'ont pas. Puis des fois, tu sais, utiliser des mots trop sophistiqués, intellectuels, académiques, là, philosophiques, ça peut, tu sais, ces caractéristiques de l'Asperger sont aussi qu'on va utiliser des mots trop intellectuels, trop sophistiqués, trop académiques, tu sais, trop philosophiques dans ce contexte, quand on peut expliquer plus simple. C'est ça un problème de l'Asperger, parce que notre cerveau est différent. Fait que, il y a une mutation dans le cerveau, comprenez? Il y a une mutation dans le cerveau. Fait que c'est pas une maladie mentale, c'est juste qu'il y a une mutation. Fait que nous, il faut des fois nous le dire directement. Et nous-mêmes, on peut le dire directement. Franchement, on peut être vraiment franc, vraiment direct, vraiment un peu brusque, direct, puis franche. Là. Puis moi, j'ai cultivé la politesse, mais j'essaie le plus possible d'être poli parce que je veux être compris, puis je veux avoir l'amour, puis je veux avoir la politesse, puis, tu sais, je veux me faire comprendre moi aussi, je veux être poli, là. Tu sais, je veux pouvoir faire du bien, là, puis j'ai souffert beaucoup, mais je me suis fait attaquer, hein, par surprise, un coup d'année dans le métro, je suis tombé, je cognais la tête, j'avais le bras droit disloqué, puis j'étais allé à l'hôpital juif, ils m'ont replacé le bras droit, j'avais cogné ma tête sur le ciment, puis j'étais mis sur des médicaments, j'étais comme dans un coma, là, pendant un couple de jours, puis je m'en souviens avoir déménagé de la place, en Côte-des-Neiges, il y avait beaucoup de moisissures, c'était souterrain, il y avait beaucoup de moisissures, là. J'avais déménagé, puis en 2017, là, ça fait plus que 7 ans, j'ai traversé le Canada de côte à côte. Avant ça, j'étais en dépression, j'étais suicidaire. Traversant le Canada, là, à traverser le Canada en août, j'étais allé à Colombie-Britannique, Vancouver, puis en septembre, j'étais allé à Halifax, Nouvelle-Écosse. J'ai eu comme un réveil. Ça m'a tout fait un réveil. J'ai tout eu comme une révélation. Je me dis, waouh, quel beau pays qu'on a, là. Tellement un beau pays qu'on a au Canada aussi. J'ai eu une révélation. J'ai commencé à m'entraîner. J'ai perdu comme 80 à 93 livres. Je suis fier d'avoir créé un système d'entraînement physique qui ne requiert aucun équipement, qui est quand même facile à faire. Bien facile parce que ça requiert aucun équipement, mais il y a une science derrière ce entraînement, c'est que ça augmente la condition physique d'une manière générale. Tu sais, c'est pas fait pour l'esthétique. Puis c'est un paradoxe, là, parce que je l'écris vis-à-vis et parallèlement, que ça soit dans un mode de Troisième Guerre mondiale, dans un mode de conflit international, comme qu'on voit maintenant avec l'Inde et le Pakistan, sont à veille peut-être de se lancer des bombes nucléaires. Là. Ils ont chacun plus que 156 bombes nucléaires. C'est beaucoup, là. c'est plus que 40, c'est plus que 44, c'est plus que 156. Pakistan puis l'Inde, les deux pays ont des bombes, des armements nucléaires. Hein? C'est des puissances nucléaires, le Pakistan puis l'Inde. Il y a un autre conflit du Cachemire. Puis justement, en 2019, en octobre-novembre, j'avais prévu que dû à cause que bien des régions, bien des pays n'ont pas été capables de résoudre leur conflit du 20e siècle, que ces conflits-là vont reprendre avec intensité dans le 21e siècle, le siècle dans lequel on vit. Parce que la guerre froide, ça a duré quand même plus que 44 ans, quasiment 45, entre mars 1947 et décembre 1991. Tu sais, ça a duré longtemps, la guerre froide. Fait que ces conflits-là, qu'est-ce qu'on voit maintenant? L'Ukraine puis la Russie, c'est des conflits là, du 20e siècle, ça. Israël puis Palestine, c'est des conflits du 20e siècle. L'Inde puis le Pakistan du Cachemire, ça date de 1947. Des conflits du 20e siècle. Encore, qu'est-ce qu'on voit? Le Taïwan puis la Chine puis le Taïwan, c'est un autre conflit sur l'horizon probable et possible à cause que c'est des conflits qui n'ont pas été résolus du 20e siècle. Ici au Québec, mais les 9 millions de Québécois, on a quand même fait un grand compromis linguistique du 20e siècle pour avoir la continuité de la paix, de l'harmonie, mais il faut que je le fasse moi aussi en tant qu'individu. Si moi-même je le fais pas, je m'exprime pas en français, puis je dis, ben vous voyez, ben faites un effort, puis merci de faire un effort, mais ça prend l'individu aussi. Si l'individu ne le fait pas, comme tantôt, je viens dans la caméra, puis tu sais, vous voyez dans 2 poubelles, je viens de voir qu'il y a des... il y a des canettes, puis il y a du plastique, puis il y a des choses qui devraient y aller dans le recyclage, pas dans la poubelle. Là. C'est l'individu aussi, c'est le collectif, c'est l'individu. C'est ça la clé du 20e siècle, c'est cette harmonie qu'on doit conjoindre. Ma liberté, ma sécurité, puis la liberté, c'est précieux. Là. Mes souffrances, j'ai perdu bien de l'emploi. Hein. Mais à cause de l'Asperger's, malheureusement, ma communauté d'Asperger's, le taux de chômage il est vraiment élevé. Le plus élevé que d'autres citoyens. C'est vraiment élevé, hein? Le taux de chômage, c'est sûr que j'ai perdu bien de l'emploi à cause de ça. Et bien sûr, pour le faire, et bien sûr, c'est des choses comme ça pour le faire moi-même. Et bien sûr, pour le faire de la théorie, en pratique, c'est des choses, bien sûr, qu'il faut que je fasse moi-même. Fait que dans ces choses, bien sûr, pour le faire ici, c'est quelque chose que je dois comprendre moi-même, que je suis différent. Fait que cette compréhension que j'ai acceptée il y a bien longtemps, puis j'aime pas la violence, mais l'hypervigilance, je suis moi-même hypervigilant parce que j'ai vécu mon trompe, j'ai vécu être attaqué par surprise, fait que je vis en hypervigilance, puis je vis en mode de Troisième Guerre mondiale depuis 2019. Fait que c'est des choses de moi-même qu'il faut que je le fasse. Pour le français, si je ne le fais pas moi-même, l'individu, je ne fais pas un effort, puis je dois remercier les gens qui font l'effort. Bon, maintenant, je vais discuter la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. Puis oui, j'ai souffert à cause de l'Asperger's. J'ai souffert, j'ai perdu de l'emploi, j'ai perdu bien de l'emploi, 5 années passées dans la COVID, mais aujourd'hui, là, 2025, en 9 mai, j'ai payé mon loyer, j'ai payé ma facture d'électricité, j'ai payé ma facture d'électricité, j'ai du café, j'ai du thé, j'ai de quoi pour me nourrir, tu sais. C'est des choses, bien sûr, que moi-même, il faut que je le fasse, tu sais, pour le faire, tu sais, pour le faire. C'est sûr que moi-même, il faut que je le fasse. Dans cette situation, l'entraînement physique, je l'encourage, j'adore m'entraîner. J'ai perdu entre 80 et 93 livres. Je vis avec cette différence. Je suis différent. Hein? Si je vis avec, comme je viens d'entendre, j'ai un pansexuel, monsieur, madame, 50-50. Je suis mystique, je crois à des réincarnations. Des fois, j'ai été né homme, des fois femme, des fois homme, des fois femme, des fois femme et femme. Je m'imagine que ça vient de balancer maintenant, que je sois androgyne, là, peut-être. Puis je suis artiste, je n'ai pas d'argent, je suis en stress financièrement, là, mais j'ai payé mon loyer, j'ai de quoi manger, j'ai du sucré chez nous, fait que quand j'ai du sucré, ça va bien. Puis j'ai quelque chose qu'on appelle le quass, que j'ai essayé sur le marché, là. C'est un alternatif à les choses qui ont beaucoup de sucre, c'est quand même plus naturel, mais j'ai acheté ça en spécial, fait que c'est ça. Et maintenant, je vais discuter la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, parce que c'est super important que je la fasse moi-même, tu sais. C'est des choses que moi-même, il faut que je le fasse pour en discuter, que c'est un paradoxe, que je mets sur la table une solution. Puis c'est vraiment la seule solution ou quelque chose qui ressemble à ma théorie de la refusion de la dette. TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. La théorie de la refusion de la dette, bien sûr, c'est ma théorie pour les finances, pour s'approprier, bien sûr, des finances, où qu'on est rendu aujourd'hui, bien sûr, à payer 46, l'année passée, 46,5 milliards. On a payé 46,5 milliards d'intérêt sur la dette publique. 1 milliard, c'est 9 zéros. C'est pas 6, c'est pas 7, c'est pas 8, c'est 9 zéros. 1 million, c'est 6 zéros. 46,5 milliards qu'on a payé d'intérêt seulement sur la dette publique. Ça a plus que doublé en 3 ans, en 2020-2021. L'année fiscale de 2020-2021, c'était 20,3 milliards. 20,3 fois 2, c'est 40,6. Seulement l'intérêt sur la dette publique, là. L'intérêt seulement, là, imaginez-vous. Imaginez-vous en tant que citoyen, si un citoyen, citoyenne, là, XY, si ça saute de 156 double, c'est 312. Fait que si ça saute plus que double, là, de 156 à 333, sans que le salaire double, à moins que le salaire double aussi, là, mais combien de salaires qui ont doublé? Pas beaucoup. Là. C'est la moyenne entre février 2020 et cette année, février 2020, c'était 4,4 de moyenne d'augmentation. Fait qu'il n'y a pas bien des salaires qui ont doublé. Fait que là, on est à veille d'avoir un effondrement des finances publiques. C'est possible que le 12 mai, lundi, là, la lune pleine, la pleine lune, puis après ça, quand Carney va être inauguré comme premier ministre après l'élection, c'est possible que ça arrive la semaine prochaine, là. Un effondrement des finances publiques à cause de commence à changer l'année fiscale et tout. Là. Parce que notre économie n'a pas doublé. C'est ça le problème. L'économie canadienne, ça a juste augmenté 1 ou 2 là. Maintenant, avec les tarifs des États-Unis, qu'on dépend plus que 85 quasiment, là. C'est plus que 3/4 là, de nos exportations. Là. Plus que 3/4 de nos exportations. Là. Plus que 3/4 de nos exportations s'en vont aux États-Unis. Fait que vous imaginez-vous, là, dans ce contexte-là, c'est un contexte là, qu'on soit de même. Fait que bon, pour vous dire que c'est un paradoxe, mais la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, que moi-même, en tant qu'analyste et théoricien indépendant en géopolitique, encore une fois, qui a prévu la situation qui se déroule en ce moment, en 2019, j'ai prévu qu'il y aura cette conflagration sur l'horizon, soit une troisième guerre mondiale, je l'ai prévu. En 2019, j'ai la preuve, j'ai la vidéo en ligne quelque part sur YouTube. Je suis un YouTuber, là, j'ai la preuve de ce que je dis. Je suis un analyste et théoricien indépendant en géopolitique, là. Je le sais, mais je suis pas parfait, loin de là. Un dragon arc-en-ciel, je chante du rock'n'roll. Qu'est-ce que vous voulez que je vous en dise? Moi, je suis bien ouvert. Je vis avec mes cicatrices. Hein. Je vis avec mon tronc. Je vis avec la perte de mémoire. J'ai survécu la COVID hein, en février 2020. Là. Février puis mars, je pensais que j'allais mourir. Je pensais vraiment que c'était mon dernier chapitre. Je pensais, oh, that's it. J'ai survécu. Il n'y a rien que je veux retourner en arrière, mais j'ai l'espoir aujourd'hui pour demain. La TRD, c'est la seule et unique solution. Quelque chose qui ressemble à la théorie de la refusion de la dette. Il n'y a pas d'autre solution, mais non. Pour le dire que la théorie de la refusion de la dette n'est pas la solution, c'est une solution qu'il faut que ça soit implémenté dans le contexte, bien sûr, qu'on fasse l'implémentation de la TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. La TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. La TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette. Ça contient la théorie d'intégration citoyenne. Correction monétaire. C'est la théorie financière que les Européens ont fait l'implémentation dans les années 90. Ça fait plus que 25 ans. Les Allemands ont détruit leur banque centrale. Les Italiens aussi, les Français, puis ont fait la création de la Banque centrale de l'Europe. Donc, dans ma TRD, théorie de la refusion de la dette, est inclus cette théorie. Puis encore une fois, je demande à mon oncle Carney, qu'est-ce qu'on va couper dans le budget? La sanitation, ceux qui ramassent les poubelles, le compostage, la police, la GRC, Gendarmerie royale du Canada, la santé, pas juste la santé, mais l'armée nationale, la défense. Il va falloir qu'on coupe dans le budget parce que vous imaginez, là, de 20,3 milliards, ça a sauté à cause de la coronavirus, bien sûr, à cause du COVID, des programmes qui ont été implémentés, mais pas seulement à cause de la COVID, mais en grosse partie à cause de la COVID. En grosse partie à cause de la COVID. La coronavirus. Qu'est-ce qu'on va couper, par exemple? La TRD de la refusion de la dette, je vous l'explique. On va prendre toute la dette. Public-privé, mon 10 000 à la Banque Royale. J'ai 10 000 $ de dette. J'ai pas de carte de crédit moi-même. On va prendre ma dette, votre dette de côte à côte, public-privé. On va faire la conversion dans la devise des États-Unis. On va faire l'addition avec la dette publique-privée des États-Unis. Parce que la situation financière du Canada et des États-Unis est similaire aux États-Unis. On a un record l'année passée. On a vu États-Unis et Canada ensemble. On a des records de dettes de cartes de crédit. la dette de carte de crédit était un record. L'année passée, c'était un record de dette, là, de carte de crédit, là, tellement de dette, fait que ça paye plus d'intérêt, puis les salaires n'augmentent pas tellement, là. Puis le coût de vie a augmenté bien. Fait qu'on va prendre toute la dette publique-privée, on va faire l'addition avec les États-Unis. Avec la dette des États-Unis. Et bien sûr, on va faire la dette avec la dette des États-Unis, on va faire l'argumentation, on va faire l'addition ensemble. L'addition. Cette addition-là, on va la mettre ensemble. L'addition, on va la mettre ensemble. Fait que toute cette dette publique-privée, on va la mettre ensemble. Toute la dette publique-privée, on va la mettre ensemble. Hey, regardez ça, c'est comme du savon, ça. Comme du savon, de la sève, là. Et c'est quelque chose, ça, c'est spécial, comment ça fait. Fait qu'on va prendre toute la dette publique-privée. Toute cette dette-là, on va faire l'addition ensemble. Toute cette dette-là, on va faire l'addition ensemble. Toute cette dette-là, avec les États-Unis, on va faire la création d'une nouvelle monnaie qu'on va appeler l'UI. U point unité, E point échange, U point universel. U point unité, E point échange, U point universel. U point unité, E point échange, U point universel. Le UI. U point unité, E point échange, U point unité, E point échange, U point universel. L'unité d'échange universelle, ça sera la nouvelle monnaie. On va faire la création d'une nouvelle banque centrale. Avec cet argent-là, on va rebâtir l'infrastructure. On va mettre un taux d'intérêt de 10%. 10% seulement. Ça ne pourra pas être plus que 10%. Là. Ça peut être moins que 10%, mais pas plus. On va financer les gens s'entraîner, l'entraînement physique, on va financer les gens au tourisme, on va rebâtir l'infrastructure, les ponts, on va bâtir plus les ponts, on va bâtir les 44 tunnels dans le cas d'une guerre thermonucléaire, on va devoir bâtir plus de tunnels, les 44 tunnels, on va devoir bâtir les 44 tunnels, dans le cas d'une guerre thermonucléaire, on va bâtir 44 tunnels dans le cas où il y aura une guerre nucléaire. 44, chiffre appelé 43 avant 45, 44 tunnels, inspirés par la montagne Cheyenne. On va financer les gens au tourisme. On va bien sûr bâtir plus de centrales de l'Hydro-Québec. Ici, on va bâtir la pyramide. Écarlate, rouge. Écarlate, c'est rouge. Pyramide, la maison du dragon avec le temple de la déesse oubliée. On va financer l'armée du dragon. Pour le service sécurité, service et défense, prêter allégeance, légion, des amis avec bénéfice seulement. On va bien sûr bâtir les 44 tunnels dans le cadre d'une guerre nucléaire. On va financer les gens l'entraînement physique, au tourisme. On va faire bien du bien, rebâtir l'infrastructure du collectif de l'Amérique du Nord. Puis de côte à côte, on va faire un recensement, un grand recensement, un passeport commun. On va enlever la frontière. Puis on va faire la création de 2 institutions de partenariat public-privé sur l'armée de la déesse qui danse pour l'environnement, l'éducation, puis l'armée du dragon pour la SSD, Sécurité, Service, Défense, les 63 légions, 50 États, 10 provinces, 3 territoires, ça fait 50 plus 10 plus 3, 63 pour la SSD. Prêtez allégeance, légion, vous êtes famille, c'est le temps pour les cadences. Je vous aime, faites de l'amour à soir, faites de l'amour à soir, faites de l'amour à soir. Faites de l'amour à soir. Let's get ready for the Dragonomic cadence. Get ready. Property of the Dragonomy. Let's go for the Dragonomic cadence. For the Dragonomic cadence. Let's go. For the Dragonomic cadence. Dragonomy. The Dragonomy, let's go. Ain't nobody born a dragon. Ain't nobody born a dragon. For the butchers and the farmers, firefighters and the truckers. For the butchers and the farmers, truckers and the firefighters. Hey, let's go for the dragons. Marching for the butchers, for the farmers and the firefighters, plumbers and the doctors. Who are we, the Dragon Army? Ain't nobody gotta say. How do we channel the aggression? with push-up and hugs. When I ask, who am I? You answer, you are Rainbow Dragon, aka General Limp Dick Lit Dick, greatest cuckold in the universe. That's right, but greatest cuckold in the universe. When I am Dragon Zero, Dragon Zero, Dragon Zero, all orders of the Dragon Army must be obeyed. All orders of the Dragon Army must be obeyed. All orders of the Dragon Army. Dragon Generals will be only solely for SSD, security, service, and defense, coast to coast, ocean to ocean, for the 63, 50 states, 10 provinces, 3 territories. Pledge your allegiance, legions, pledge your allegiance, legions, pledge your allegiance, legions. Encourage all to work out, train, exercise, push-ups, and let's build the North American People's Imperial Coliseum. Cadence. On the feet and on the toes. And we go with black and white and rainbow. On the feet and on the toes. We play that black and white and rainbow. Dragon Army coast to coast. For the butchers, firefighters, plumbers, and the rabbits. Look at the bunny rabbit. Don't worry, they're gonna hunt. Not gonna hunt. There's a bunny, there's a rabbit. Bunny rabbit, in French is lapin, lapin, lapin. In the wild, that's why I don't pollute. For the bunnies, for the rabbits, which we have here, flora and fauna. Don't worry, I got food at home. I'm not gonna chase. You're eating. Yeah, love you too. L-O-V, the bunny sends some love, says go dragon go. He's singing, see, look at the mouth. He's singing Dragon Army cadence. We have dragon number 1, because I'm Dragon Zero. Who's number 1? Who's the dragon number 1,358? Dragon 0, who's next in line for Dragon 1, Dragon 2, Dragon 3, Dragon 333, Dragon 156, Dragon 93. Get in line. Dragon 0, General Founder of the Dragon Army, aka greatest cuckold in the universe. Let's go on the feet and on the toes. In the mud I rock and roll. For the 63 of the kingdom, for the empire. For the empire, for the kingdom, for the empire. Dragon Army rock and roll. Here we march up in the toes. As we go shoulder to shoulder. We going coast to coast, ocean to ocean. Got a duck ready to quack. Got some ducks ready to quack. Don't worry, I'm not going to chase you, but in case of a thermonuclear war, I guess I'm going to have to. Not today. I got food in the fridge. Satellites can see in the fridge. That's what I built in a parallel life. No need. Maybe the sun sees what's inside all the satellites. Sun, DI, watch it, raw. Let's go. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean. Gotta build it, that's a potion. I don't need no magic potion. Just some loving and some bacon. For you know the globe is shaking. High and go left and right. That's we going out of sight. Some of my dragons are black. Some of my dragons are white. Some of my dragons are rainbow. Some of my dragons are dragonesses. Some of my dragons are dragonesses. Some of my dragons are dragonesses. Don't need no eggs, just some stresses. Let's go left and right in the march. You know that we out of sight. You know that we be lean. You know that we see and be. They go left and they go right. Dragon Army in the sight. Dragon Army, that's alright. Dragon Army, be polite. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean. Gotta see and gotta be. For the free, for the brave, for the loving. Gotta be and gotta see. Watch the stairs because it's slippery. Watch the stairs because it's slippery. Gotta go, give me hydration. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean. Gotta be and gotta see. For the dragon army. Got a left and got a right. Got a left and got a right. For the sight and for the left. Where the dragon's army left. Now go hydrate. Oh yes, this is what we need. We need to get that vasa. Thank you workers, imagine all the work, brains and muscle just to have water here on the mountain. Quite an achievement, quite an accomplishment. Big salutations, rock and roll, LOV. Thank you. Quite a brains and muscle to get water on the mountain, by the aqueducts inside, eh? Upwards, the upward water. How? I wanna know, curious. Oh yeah, here we go. Let's go with the cadence. We're continuing for the cadence. On the go. So here, if you look up, there's the paintings of history events, historical events. Quebec, Canada. They're roundabout upwards, but you gotta look up to see the paint. So, but they're not marked, so you have to kind of know a little bit of history of Canada, Quebec. I kind of know the events portrayed. That's kind of Samuel de Champlain. And all about here, the history of Quebec, Canada. Kind of North America also. You just got to check and see if you're Quebec. And of course, not 20th century history. It's 17th, 18th, 16th, 17th, 16th, 18th. It's our history here. Wow. Yeah, it's our history basically, but not all the events. Just some representative because it's part of it. What I want to commission, although I'm broke, is would be the Hydro-Quebec, the building of the Hydro-Quebec dams. All this electricity here doesn't pollute, eh? So this comes from clean, zero pollution water. So it comes from water, hydroelectricity. So all the electricity in Quebec, when you come here in Montreal, is renewable. Does not pollute, It's from water, hydroelectric. Correction, not IG, but hydroelectric. So this is quite an achievement of Quebec to have built the dams, you know. So that's why I want to commission right there with a spot, you know. Yeah. That's what I would do. I will give $1 million to, or a few thousand to just get a Hydro-Quebec dams. 20th century. I will represent the 20th century. So that's something else. So we gotta be. Alright, Dragonomy cadence, we continue. Rock and roll. For the farmers and the butchers and the bakers and the nurses and the truckers and the firefighters.
Oh yeah.
Huh?
Oh yeah.
Hell yeah, you like the cadence? Which one did you like?
All of them.
Yeah? Got one for you. You guys visiting?
Yeah.
Where from?
Gatineau.
Ok, c'est pas loin là.
Non.
C'est d'ici, c'est du bon bord. Je pensais que vous venez d'Outre-mer ou de quelque part là, des États-Unis. Vous êtes pas loin, vous êtes pas loin. Ok. Tu fumez un bon joint? C'est bon.
C'est mon voyage. Quelle autre place?
Ah ouais. Puis après ça, vous allez sortir un peu, vous amuser quelque part?
Yeah.
Un petit peu de danse?
Maybe. On va voir.
Les Gatineaux? Ok. Cool. Hein? Ouais. Alright, je vous laisse là-dessus. Puis je vais vous laisser. Let's go, je vais continuer la cadence, cadence. Love you guys. Let's go for the lovers and the butchers and the bakers and the nurses and the truckers and the firefighters. Gotta be on the steel toes. Gotta get that rock and roll. Gotta get that rock and roll. Photos on the go, they go. Photos on the go, they go. That's why we ain't gotta roll. That's why we ain't gotta roll. Firefighters, plumbers, butchers. Firefighters, plumbers, butchers. Electricians and the nurses and daycare workers. That's we march ocean to ocean, coast to coast, ocean to ocean. Dragonomy cadence, love it. Dragonomy cadence, love it. The lovers and the butchers and the go. Gotta see it so you know. Gotta be it so you know. For the lovers, rock and roll. And the truckers on the road. Gotta get it, do we know? Gotta get it, do we know? Gotta get it, rock and roll. Hey, we gotta be and see. Hey, we gotta be and see. Gotta give up into me. For the you and us we roll. On the plains and on the go. On mountains and the valleys. On the mountains and the valleys. Here we come, we Dragonomy. Here we come, we Dragonomy. For the 50 and the 10 and the 3, that's 63. For the 50 and the 10 and the 3, that's 63. For the 50 and the 10 and the 3, that's 63. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean. For the 50 and the 10 and the 3. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean. Gotta love the magic potion. Gotta love the magic potion. Gotta be beast and see. Gotta be beast and be. It ain't all about the money. It ain't all about the money. It ain't all about the money. Some it is, some it isn't. It ain't all about the money. Some it is and some it isn't. We cannot be bought, we cannot be bribed. We cannot be bought, we cannot be bribed. Dragonomy and we loving. Hey, let's do the aggression push-ups. With some push-ups. Gotta be on the sea, in the left, in the right. North and west and out of sight. Yeah, we marching in steel toes. Just to hear the crows. Just to hear the crows. Yep, we marching in steel toes. Just to hear the crows. Construction on the cranes. Building at another lane. Public workers of the collective. That's the aqueducts, they need the hectic. Aqueducts need some changing. The bridges need to be rebuilding. Bridges need to be rebuilding. God is safe amid the sparks. God is safe amid the quarks. Gotta see to believe it. When you turn the night and eat it. For the black and white and rainbow. For the black and white and rainbow. For the black and white and rainbow. Welcome to the Dragonomic Cadence. Property of the Dragonomic, created on May 9th, 2025, freestyle mode. May 9, 2025, or 121 years after 1904, 1909, 1984, 1987, 47, whatever the case may be. Alistair Crawley, buried me, Papa Crawley, a third of me up in Hampton, New Jersey, third of me up in the third city of the pyramids, a third of me up in the mountain. At the back there, the Belvedere conjuring act. Let's go, Dragonomic Cadence. Here we go for the road, and the butchers and the bakers. For the truckers on the road. For the truckers on the road. And the nurses and the nurses and the nurses. Gotta sing some of that cadence. Got us going up and down. Gotta go up and down. In the rain and in the snow. Got a dragon army rainbow. Hold on. Now you. Gotta go, and gotta go. Up and down, there's no snow. Up and down, there's no snow. That is muddy, muddy mud. In the muddy, muddy mud. Dragon Army, here we go. For another cadence show. Hey, for the Empire. For the Empire, for the Empire, for the Empire special. Dragon Army, here we go. For another rock and roll. Got a left and a right and B. For the left in harmony. What you see and what you do. That's a me and that's a you. On the left and on the right. Verbiage left and right and side. Watch it for the manure. Hey, for those building sewers. Take some brains and some muscle. Take some brains and some muscle. Take some brains and some muscle. Some of my dragons are black. Some of my dragons are white. Some of my dragons are black, white. Some of my dragons are dragonesses. Some of my dragons are plenty of stresses. We channel the aggression with push-ups and hugs. Channel the aggression with push-ups and hugs. Push-ups and hugs, push-ups and hugs. Push-ups and hugs. Channel the aggression with push-ups and hugs. On the mountain, on in the forest. On the mountain, in the forest. For the 63. For the 63, give me some legions of the dragon army cadence. Who am I? You answer, when I ask, who am I? You say, you are General Rainbow Dragon Zero, aka Dragon Zero Rainbow Dragon, aka Little Clit Dick, aka Little Cuckold, lots of AKAs for Rainbow Dragon General Zero. General Dragon Zero, who's 1 to 1 million to 3 million, 11 million, millions of dragons. Let's go. For the 63, Canada States fused. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean, for the SSD. For the SSD. For the SSD. Security, service, and defense. That's the Dragon Army sentence. Security, service, and defense. That's the Dragon Army sentence. Security, service, and defense. That's the Dragon Army sentence. Security, service, and defense. That's the Dragon Army sentence. Security, service, and defense. That's the Dragon Army sentence. Security, service, and defense. That's the Dragon Army sentence. Left and right on butchers, bakers, nurses, firefighters. Butchers, bakers, nurses, firefighters. Butchers, bakers, nurses, firefighters. Butchers, bakers, nurses, firefighters. Truckers, bakers, bakers, bakers. It ain't all about Wall Street. Ain't what I want to eat. Let's go, bakers, bake some cookies. Doesn't mind me missing booty. Let's go for the flora fauna. For the rabbits and the birds. Big cattle and the firms. Coast to coast, ocean to ocean. We got 400 million fellow citizens. We got 400 million. Let's go for the train conductors on the choo-choo train. Let's go for the train conductors on the choo-choo train. Going east and west and north and south. Train conductors roundabout. Choo-choo train with no pain. Train conductors. For the train conductors we march and sing the cadence. For the train conductors we march and sing the cadence. Gotta be up in the wit. Gotta be up in the whip. Got a sandwich and some bacon. Got a sandwich with no bacon. Just some egg with no bacon. Gotta be grateful. Grateful, thankful for the 63. That's the you and that's the me and that's the us in Dragon Army. For the cadence rock and roll. Let's go, move the hips. Left and right and twist. Let's go, move those hips. Left and right and hear you twist. Let's go, move those hips. Left and right and hear you twist. Let's go, move those hips. Left and right and hear your twist. Let's go, move those hips. Left and right and hear those twists. Let's go. Twist. Left or right. I wanna see somebody kiss. Gotta see somebody lips. Gotta see somebody hiss. Let me love up into this. Love it forward in the rain, for the trees don't feel the pain. Where's the hawk? Is that a crow? Is that a hawk? Is that a crow? Is that a hawk? Let's go with the crow, with the hawk. Gotta go and left and hawk, with the tick and talking on the clock. Gotta go for the blood, for the singing. For my cousins and my sisters, for the love of string conductors. Gotta kisses and some hugging, gotta kisses and some hugging. Gotta be somebody loving, gotta be somebody loving. Gotta be somebody loving, gotta be somebody loving. For the left and for the right, on the V and on the side. You know that's we gotta be, for the X and for the right, for the left and for the side. Gotta be on left and side. Let's go for the 63. Gotta be up in with me, for the U on left and right, for the side. We gotta do for the left, that's you. Let's go for the farmers, butchers, bakers, nurses, truckers. Those in the fast food flipping some of those burgers. Those in the fast food flipping some burgers. Those in the fast food flipping some burgers. Train conductors, construction workers on the cranes. Construction workers switching lanes. Construction workers switching lanes. Gotta be, gotta C, got an A and got a D. Gotta C, got an A, gotta B and got a D. Got an A, got a D, got a B and got a C. So you know we marching on. Left, right and crown bone. For you know up in the me is you, us. Dragonomic cadence, property of the Dragonomy. Pledge your allegiance to our family. Don't use unless you're an ally. Or allegiance, pledge your allegiance, Dragonomy. Pledge your allegiance, Dragonomy. Let's go. Pledge your allegiance, Dragonomy. Let's go. Put your hands up and fly like an eagle. Let's go. Put your hands up and fly like an eagle. Let's go. Put your hands and fly like an eagle. Let's go. Put your hands and fly like an eagle. Gotta put your hands and fly like an eagle. Gotta put your hands like an eagle. Gotta put your hands like an eagle. Fly high, left, right, and center. Gotta be up in the center. You know that we train conductors. You know that we train conductors. So there be on the seas. You know that we harmony. Let's go for the rocks and butchers baking up. Bakers, electricians, cleaning workers, servants. In the service SSD. Gotta be and gotta see for the service that you see. Gotta be and gotta see for the service that you see. And another piece. And another beast. The gotta see and gotta be. Gotta left and gotta right. Gotta be and gotta see. Where the road in harmony. We are left and right and in the center. Left and right and in the center. Left and right and in the center. Gotta be a sentence for us. Sentences for the free, the strong, the loving, the strong, the loving, for the liberty, for the free, the strong, the loving, for the free, the strong, the loving, for the free, the strong, the loving. Let's go, Dragonomy cadence. Gotta go that rock and roll all the way down. Let's go for the left and for the right and for the left. Gotta go the stairs, says. Gotta go the stairs yet. On down the stairs as we go. Gotta march the valleys and the mountains and the rivers. By the river, by the mountain. Watch the snail, watch the snail, watch the snail. No need to eat it, got some food at home. Let's go for those flipping burgers, property of the Dragonomy. Created by General Dragon Zero Rainbow Dragon, aka Cuckold, greatest cuckold in the universe. Greatest cuckold in the universe. Let's go, rock and roll. Gotta go, gotta see, gotta know and gotta be. Dragonomy, Dragonomy. Gotta know, gotta be, gotta see and gotta me. Let's go for the Dragonomy. Pledge your allegiance, legion. Some of our dragons are black, some of my dragons are black white. Some of my dragons are rainbow, some of the dragons are dragonesses. Some of my dragons are black white, some of my dragons are rainbow, some of my dragons are dragonesses.